Hi friends, so I showed you a little bit of a image of the smoke hanging over our area just in the distance there, still like that. Look, I'm turning grey literally before your eyes from worry. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Anyway, just a brief update because there probably are some people following me in relation to this Tasmanian Fires thing. The Tasmanian Fire Service did a live stream today, and they said that they expected some kind of significant rain on Thursday, but it's probably not going to be enough to put out the fires. They might find some easing in the next few days because the weather is better, and they can try and put out some of the main parts of the fire in the Huon Valley area and elsewhere. There's in the Central Plateau area. But they're hoping that this cooler weather and the reduction in winds might help. Of course, the winds from the northwest, from the west-northwest, are problematic for us here and can blow the fire over again and start up a whole new thing. But we're hoping that maybe with the reduction in temperatures, it's much less, and that mostly the winds are kind of lesser than they were. That might help them get a hold on it. The rain is so unpredictable. We haven't really had any rain to speak of since the beginning of this year, so that's really unusual for Tasmania. Of course, there's some sort of El Nino event happening this year, and I hope that it's related to that, but if it's not, that's very worrisome. And that's why I mentioned the climate crisis in relation to this fire emergency in Tasmania, because it's so widespread. We have fires here in Tasmania, but this one is so widespread. This is particularly frightening. And I'll probably only be able to talk for a little while at the moment because the smoke is starting to build up, and it's catching in the back of my throat. So anyway, that's really, it's still ongoing, the danger, but in some ways it's lesser because of the temperatures being lesser. It's more like between 15 and 23 degrees instead of the upper 20s and early 30s, and that makes a difference. And of course the reduction in winds. So anyway, that's for any friends who may be watching in the world that have relatives or family here in Tasmania. I think it's going to be, I don't know, I have no idea. I think it might end up being okay. It really depends on when we get rain, and so you know, I mean, with all our technology and everything, we really ultimately always rely on nature and what nature is going to do. And of course, we've abused the planet to the extent that with the climate, with our awful sort of industrialization and everything, we've managed to completely transform the climate, and so we really, you know, that makes it a lot less predictable. So who knows, but you can hear the helicopters in the distance that are delivering water to those areas, and that's just sort of an ongoing thing. And the fire is very erratic. So that's really, but you know, my gut feeling is, and take it with a grain of salt, is that it might be okay. I don't think it's going to be as, I think they might eventually get a hold of it because of the cooler temperatures and the reduction in winds. But sometimes, you know, these things can just, if we don't get any rain, where these embers and the coals and everything, they can just reignite and start things all over again. So it's a worry, and I don't think here where we are in the Huon Valley, across from Castle Forbes Bay, I don't think we're out of the completely out of danger. It feels a little bit less dangerous, but we just keep I've never been so obsessed with looking at weather reports and looking at the Tasmanian Fire Service site and checking maps and things. I mean, it's a sort of like an hourly event here. It's an hourly event, and sometimes more depending on when it was. So anyway, that's that, and I thank you for anybody who sent me good wishes, which is that's been very kind of you, because it's been very stressful and anxiety provoking, and I feel exhausted. I find that I want to sleep. I think it's just all been catching up with me. I feel like I'm sleeping, but I'm not sleeping properly, and that's because I think underneath it all I'm worried that something is going to worsen, and we still have everything packed in our vans, in our cars, and ready to take off if we have to. And that's not a great thing, and you have to keep going out to your cars to get things and then put them back. You know, it's a little bit odd, and you know, everything looks a bit messy, and yeah, and our beloved felines are in town in a boarding place in a vet hospital that's kindly waived the boarding fee for us because it's it's an emergency situation, and I thought that was very kind of them. Anyway, that's it for that. If you live in the Huon Valley or anywhere which is affected by fire, stay safe. I have good thoughts for you, and don't leave it till the last minute. Take the appropriate action that's recommended, because in these days where things are much drier. I wanted to say one thing. This is about Tasmania. I have a friend who is a mechanic, and he's been around for a long time. He's about 76, and he said that where the fire began, which was the River Road, the Huon area, which is a walkway, a sort of a forest walkway and visitors site. That area used to be very, very dense. It used to be very, very wet, basically. The ground would hold a lot of moisture, and when they built in all the roads to that area, a lot of the water drained off, and so that area is a lot drier than it used to be. And but he said, you know, that area, it was so wet, the ground and everything, that you'd get leeches on you. So that's the Huon forest area, where this fire has sort of really ravaged, and which has moved closer to to Port Huon and Castle Forbes Bay and Geeveston and all those different ones on the other side of the river. So we've actually sort of transformed Tasmania in a way, with all of our, you know, sort of moving into these areas and turning them into tourist attractions. We've actually made them a lot drier, which if there is a lightning strike or something like that, or even arson or whatever it is, or even just you know, whatever's caused the spark that has created this massive fire, it's become much more likely that it happens because we have dried out that area so badly with the roads that have been put in and the water has been draining off. So this is, you know, sort of an indication of, you know, where we're just not connected to nature. We don't think about these things. We're just capitalism. We just want to exploit areas to, you know, bring in dollars, and then we end up paying for it. But of course, the most invisible group that's been paying for it the most are non-human animals, because it's their home in these forests. And there's been a lot of animals have died. A lot of animals have been injured. There's been animals disoriented and being knocked over on the roads, and we don't care really, because we don't care that we've invaded this earth is their earth too. This is why I'm vegan, because I finally recognize that the other species on this planet have every right to be respected, not to be exploited, not to be used for food, clothing, entertainment or other reasons. And 99.99% of the planet's population are non-human. So, we're not respecting them when we're not vegan, but we're not respecting them when we sort of basically make little islands of places where they have to remain in these sort of cordoned off areas that we've created, these artificial areas, and we've made no way for them to get through to other areas, or we've just basically contracted their living areas to such an extent that you know, they end up dying off or, you know, going extinct. And now, you know, Tasmania's burst into flames. There's been about 180,000 hectares of forest have been destroyed now by the fire. That's 180,000 hectares so far that animals now, native animals that belong here just as much as we do, they belong here probably more than we do because we're an introduced species into these areas ourselves. They've lost all that area now, and we only see it as it's something that's happened that's affecting us in towns, etc. But it's their home, and their home is burnt down. 180,000 hectares, and there's more to come. So this is what we're doing to non-human animals when we're not vegan. And I'm going to show you those two little memes again, and I ask you to pause them and read them carefully because they're really, really important. Okay, so please go vegan. You can see how important it is because non-human animals are not our resources, they're not our property, they never were, and we have to stop dominating and exploiting the vulnerable. They're sentient, just like the dogs and cats whom we live with. Let's stop exploiting non-human animals. And in the end, we're killing ourselves and bringing ourselves to the edge of extinction or extinction, which is most likely because animal agriculture has been destroying the planet in a massive way. And you know, we're eventually going to cause our own extinction because of our violence towards other animals. So please go vegan. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. My name's Trish Roberts. You're watching Faint Signals from Vega. Till next time, bye for now.